how that last part will work. Basically, caucus leaders have a step-by-step guide to leading the process, and the iPad has a different Google form for each step of the process. The leaders input data, and the calculator on the iPad spits out who's viable, who gets how many delegates, and so on. One of the key purposes of the iPad will also be to integrate the early vote totals. If you remember, Nevada did for the first time early caucusing earlier this week, and the iPad will help integrate those numbers into the day of caucus results. While this event is not happening in secret, reported as well, caucus goers, observers, people in these precincts will be able to do the math alongside the caucus leaders and be able to check and make sure the caucus leaders
KPC Entertainment presenting Railbird Festival on the grounds at Keeneland, August 22nd and 23rd, featuring Jason Isbell and the 400 unit, Maren Morris, The Head and the Heart, and more. Tickets available February 21st at 10 at railbirdfest.com.
The job you do and the industry you do it in can really affect what this economy looks like for you.
I remember telling my dad I wanted to do hair, and he told me, well, you always have a job.
The competition to get a bartending job is pretty stiff.
I'm Connor Wisdall, a double-sided look at the service economy of the United States of work. Next time on Marketplace.
Tune in for Marketplace this evening at 6:30, right after the Daily on WFPL.
It's today's edition of Curious Louisville. Let's start with our question asker. Hi, I'm Kyla.
And you're listening to Strange Fruit Podcast. This is Here Today, a podcast about Louisville's changing West.
We've got lots of podcasts, from the latest in Kentucky politics, to Curious Louisville, to the next Louisville. Find all our podcasts on the LPM app and at louisvillepublicmedia.org/podcast.
Sponsored by KPC Construction and Butchertown Clinical Trials.
For NPR comes from this station and from Procter & Gamble, maker of Metamucil, a fiber supplement containing psyllium, a plant-based fiber for trapping and removing waste in the digestive system, designed to be taken every day. More at metamucil.com/2-week challenge. And from C3.ai. C3.ai's software enables organizations to use artificial intelligence at enterprise scale, solving previously unsolvable business problems. Learn more at C3.ai.
This is All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Ari Shapiro.
And I'm Mary Louise Kelly. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is out of prison, back at home, and speaking out. This morning, the former governor joined his wife and 2 daughters outside their Chicago
He's also relaxed import controls. There are signs the strategy's working. This is Caracas' more affluent east side. New stores sell luxury imports, French champagne, Italian cheese, bottles of scotch. Gleaming SUVs line up for valet parking outside restaurants. Not far away, there are brightly decorated food trucks. Customers sit under sunshades eating pulled pork and Philly steak sandwiches.
¿Se ha visto la diferencia?
Business is better now because of dollarization, says Daniela Caraballo. She's from the Caracas Pork Company, which has a truck here. As for talking politics,
Yo no estoy pendiente de los problemas políticos porque
she's not interested. She says she prefers to focus on growing the business. Venezuelans stashed away savings abroad during the country's oil boom, says economist Ramiro Molina.
If you put what private Venezuelans hold abroad, Venezuela ends up being one of the countries in the world with the highest saving rates.
These assets are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, says Molina. He believes some Venezuelans have given up waiting for Maduro to fall. They're bringing savings home to spend on their families and businesses. Remittances from at least 4 million Venezuelans working abroad and black money from crime are also in the mix.
The regime that says they are socialist have forgotten about socialism. They want to survive.
Sadio Garavini de Torno is a retired diplomat and a political commentator. He says these changes come at a price.
The gap is getting bigger and bigger between the people who have some access to dollars and the people who have no access to dollars.
So this is really see that. We've come to Rio Chico, a town on the Caribbean coast 2 hours from Caracas. In the local vegetable market, Martina Amaricua is selling eggs. She works here 7 days a week, she says. The customers still use the bolivar.
nosotros vamos hoy en Soberano.
Amaricua says that means her earnings lose value immediately.
A mí sí me gustaría que este país dólar.
She'd prefer the entire economy to be dollarized. For her and her family, and most others in this town, life is hard. There's a desperate shortage of electricity, clean water, food and medicine, and also of money of all kinds. Evidence of that lies here, in the overgrown town cemetery. Some families now bury their dead in homemade concrete tombs because they can't afford proper burials. One grave stands out. It belongs to a child. It's made from a handful of crumbling bricks and covered by a loose-fitting lid of rusting scrap metal, crowned by a twig. Philip Reeves, NPR News, Rio Chico.
Tomorrow on Morning Edition from NPR News. Morning Edition on the air tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on 89.3 WFPL. You're tuned in to All Things Considered on 89.3 WFPL, coming up on 5:30. I'm Jonice Franklin, glad to be with you on this Wednesday. News headlines from NPR coming up next. Fair skies, currently 48 degrees. Downtown Louisville, cloudy tonight. Lows in the upper 20s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. We'll see highs in the upper 30s. Then sunny on Friday with highs of about 40 or so. Even warmer on Saturday.
It's All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Mary Louise Kelly.
And I'm Ari Shapiro. Coming up, the Astros cheating scandal prompts more Major League Baseball players to speak up and demand action.
To see something like that, it's damaging to baseball. You know, it's anger. I feel like every single guy over there needs a beating.
So where's MLB go from here? We'll ask after the news.
Live from NPR News in Culver City, California, I'm Dwayne Brown. In Las Vegas, billionaire Mike Bloomberg will take the debate stage for the first time tonight after shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars in self-funded TV ads. Polls are showing Bernie Sanders leading the Democratic presidential field. The Vermont senator identifies as a Democratic socialist, but the latest NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll shows socialism is far less popular than capitalism. Here's NPR's Domenico Montanaro.
The poll found that the older voters are, the less likely they are to have positive views of socialism, and Sanders believes that the U.S. should adopt more European-style economic policies, like healthcare as a universal right and free college. How he defines his economic philosophy, though, is very likely going to go a long way in determining whether he can beat President Trump if he wins the nomination. Domenico Montanaro, NPR News, Washington.
The novel coronavirus outbreak has now infected more than 75,000 people, most of them in China. Research labs around the world are trying to come up with therapies to combat the virus. As NPR's Joe Palca tells us, there are two basic approaches researchers are taking.
One approach involves finding a drug that will disrupt one of the biological steps the virus needs to infect cells. This could be blocking a critical enzyme or interfering with a virus's ability to make copies of itself. The second approach involves making drugs that act like the human immune system does. These so-called monoclonal antibodies can be made from the immune cells of patients who had COVID-19 and got better, or they can be made using mice that have been given what amounts to a human immune system. Scientists are reasonably confident one of these approaches will be successful. How soon is another matter. Joe Palca, NPR News.
Stocks finished higher on Wall Street as tech giant Apple recovered most of its losses from yesterday. You're listening to NPR News. In Syria, the Aleppo civilian airport is open for the first time in more than 8 years. A group of Syrian officials, as well as journalists, were on board the commercial airliner today that became the first in years to land in the war-torn city. NPR's Deborah Amos reports.
It was a symbolic landing. A military band greeted passengers embarking from the 40-minute flight from Damascus to Aleppo. The Minister of Tourism and other officials made the trip, highlighted on Syrian news channels. The Syrian military assault has widened in recent weeks due to gains on the ground, with a crushing campaign of Russian airstrikes leveling villages and towns to concrete dust. The military operation has also strained ties between Turkey and Russia, backing opposing sides in this conflict. On Wednesday, Turkey's president warned of an imminent Turkish intervention. More than 1 million Syrian civilians are massed on the Turkish border. Deborah Amos, NPR News, Beirut.
A federal judge in Texas has thrown out a lawsuit by Chinese tech giant Huawei challenging a U.S. law that bars the government and its contractors from using Huawei equipment because of security concerns. The judge ruled the federal government has the right to take its business elsewhere. Huawei is at the center of U.S.-Chinese tensions over 5G technology competition, as well as digital spying. Stocks finished higher on Wall Street today after the number of new coronavirus cases in China fell. This is NPR.
This is 89.3 WFPL News Louisville. All Things Considered continues on this Wednesday. Coming up, to prepare for more development, lawmakers in Florida are commissioning new toll roads through rural areas, but some rural communities say they don't want them. More on that story in about 15 minutes on WFPL.
Support for 89.3 WFPL comes from Door Store and Windows. Locally owned and operated for over 2 decades, offering and installing custom energy-efficient replacement windows and doors in a range of design options. Case studies and information at doorstoreandwindows.com. From the Louisville Orchestra, presenting Gospel at the Symphony this Saturday at 8, Teddy Abrams and the Louisville Orchestra welcome the St. Stephen Choir and Hammond B organist Corey Henry to the Kentucky Center. Information at LouisvilleOrchestra.org.
Right now, fair skies, 48 degrees downtown Louisville. You're listening to All Things Considered on WFPL. It's 5:35.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Indeed, with its skills tests built for employers who want to see a deeper sense of the person behind the resume. Learn more at Indeed.com/NPR. From T. Rowe Price, offering a strategic investing approach that examines investment opportunities firsthand. Institutions, advisors, employers, and individuals choose T. Rowe Price. T. Rowe Price.
Not exactly. It's a gray area on driving streams to where if someone is looking to pay attention to chat and see what's going on there, it can be deemed as a distractive, dangerous behavior because you're trying to drive while reading chat. And so they will sometimes get you on a toss for that situation. That's why I have the disclaimer up there that I may not respond or acknowledge chat until I'm actually stopped. Now, if I have a passenger with me, they can read chat all day long and say things and respond or read it out to me and say what's going on. A boring, uneventful day. Literally did nothing all day long. I have maintenance I have to do tomorrow night, so I'm going to be up from like midnight until 6 a.m. tomorrow night. But today was preparation for that, but everything's already been prepared and I don't need to do anything, so I went to work, sat at my desk and stared at the screen all day long. Almost fell asleep. It was pretty bad. With that, I am actually almost home now, so I'm actually getting ready to hop off here in just a few moments. I gotta change my brakes. I don't know if you can hear this. I got a brake that's grinding against the rotor right now, and it started on my way to work this morning, so I'm getting ready to park the car and get out and go get that all cleaned up and fixed. I appreciate you stopping by for the few moments. I'm typically live most every day anyways. Maybe gaming a little later tonight, simply what I do, but I appreciate you stopping by. You have a good night there.